What's up, and welcome to the DualSense podcast for episode 147. I'm one of your co hosts, Jason, and I'm joined, of course, as always, by your other faithful co host. He's going by Bard this evening. Not quite sure what that's about. We'll get to the bottom of it. He's also known as Travis. Travis, what's going on tonight?
Absolutely nothing. We have ants in the kitchen, but that's it.
It's that time of the year, right? You,
Mhm.
I've killed a couple in the house. I need to spray again. They just find their way in. You find ants. One year we had them really bad. They came in off the back deck, like porch, whatever, and they found the dog food which sits nearby the back door. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Fuck, these things are smart." They found this
Yeah.
big ass bin of dog food.
Yeah, it's better than, of all the things that could get into your house, it's better than, every time it rains, raccoons come in, that would be a lot worse.
Yeah, yeah. Someone we used to work with had squirrels and raccoons, I think, in her attic at her house at one point. At my house, I did have birds in my attic at one point, and had to get that removed and cleaned up, and then get my the ends of my house sealed up or whatever. So
Do you
that was
shoot the
interesting.
birds? How did you get rid of the birds?
So I hired someone who
Mhm.
came in when they were not in the nest, and then they just cleaned up the nest and then closed off
Oh.
the ends of my house. Yeah, so it's not like they're up there just started
Mhm.
blasting like
I
all the
wanted you to hire the
starlings.
turtle guy from your neck of the woods, that would be nice.
Yeah, yeah, he could definitely get him. If I had snakes, that's exactly who I would call. So. But, what's this bard about? Who's bard?
You know what a bard is, right?
Yeah, someone who, sang songs and told stories in
Yeah,
medieval times.
I thought it was a nice, bards are,
Mhm.
an essential cog to much storytelling in video games. I thought it was a nice nod to
Oh, okay.
our little program here. Also, Google has made a new AI chatbot called Bard.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's their version of, Chat GPT or whatever?
yeah. So
Mm.
they missed a chance to call it Bard Simpson, which I would have really enjoyed.
Yes, that would have been, on brand or maybe too on the nose, but, what was for dinner tonight?
We had Sim Sushi and Steakhouse.
Oh, did a little sushi,
hmm
or did you do
So
hibachi?
no, I just got a chicken bowl.
Mhm.
Yeah, my stepdad ordered the hibachi, and they brought the soup and salad out, and then he stared at them because he didn't understand what they were. And he also didn't like that they put the dressing on it for him, so he pushed both of them away and stared at them like, a kid pushes something away and they're annoyed? He does
Uh-huh.
that, and then, 3 minutes later, he just starts eating all of it. Like,
Like, "No."
it's great.
Like, "No, I'm not gonna eat that." "Oh, yeah,
Uh,
wait, let me have it. I think I want it."
and then he was like, "Do you wanna try one of these fried dumplings?" He's like, "No." And then, 5 minutes later, "Yeah, give me a dumpling. Go ahead and dip it in whatever that is."
Dude, the fried dumplings are so fire. Like, I love fried dumplings. They're so good.
I don't like the sauce. It's a little salty, but, that's part of
Oh,
it.
I do like that. It kinda looks like an au jus. It's like a soy sauce type of thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, some sort of it's the Asian version of an aioli.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is what I think it
correct.
is.
Yeah, correct, correct. Anyway, we had Chick-fil-A. Had a salad.
You got a salad?
Yeah, I get salad at Chick-fil-A. People
Yeah,
change.
well, you used to be a Dutton, and look at you now.
Yeah, that's you know, going from cowboy to vegetarian just like that. So it happens quick. Anyway, Travis, we are a weekly podcast where you and I get together and discuss all things PlayStation, like news, rumors, new game releases, and much more. And we post new episodes every Monday on all of the usual podcast services around the world, as well as YouTube, where you can also catch gameplay videos from our escapades. And we're also on social media. Our primary feed is Twitter, where we go by at the DualSense Pod, but we're also on Instagram and Facebook, if you prefer those for some reason. Our website is thedualsenspodcast.wordpress.com. You can get the shows there every week. You can also get our bios, our pictures, the show notes. So hit us up, and we would love to chat some PlayStation with you. And without further ado, let's jump into what has turned out to be a pretty beefy week of PlayStation news here, including some late breaking news here that I had to revise our document here and send to you at the last minute. Number one, In a bit of late breaking news on Friday, website Video Games Chronicle reported that PlayStation's second party developer Deviation Games has laid off as many as 90 employees, with many taking to social media to announce the news. PlayStation and Deviation entered a publishing partnership in 2021 on an unannounced game. At that time, the studio said their headcount was over 100 people, meaning they've now laid off likely half of their staff, if not much more. There's been no official word from Sony Interactive Entertainment or Deviation Games at this point, but the immediate question now becomes whether or not Deviation's project has been canceled by Sony outright. To that end, earlier in the week, website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that an unannounced PlayStation exclusive sci fi shooter in development for PS5 and PC has been canceled, with former employees of developer Final Strike Games revealing on social media this week that they had been laid off. One employee affected by the layoffs stated that the studio suffered a 40% reduction in staff. Final Strike Games appeared to be working in collaboration with Deviation Games on the unannounced game, although that is not confirmed at this point, but is based on developer Eric Hewitt tweeting last October that he had met with some of Deviation Games staff upon being hired at Final Strike for what sounded like coworker introductions. So, were the two studios intertwined? That remains unclear, but what is obvious is that PlayStation is on a spree of layoffs and studio closures following last week's news that first party team Pixel Opus was shutting down after an internal review process. And before I kick it over to you, the one thing that has become clear is that PlayStation is currently reviewing all of their teams. And I think that now we can connect that back to Media Molecule, who we know lost many of its co-founders, who is shutting down Dreams and has moved on to another game. So they're obviously internally reviewing all these teams and partnerships. So anyway, with that in mind, what do you make of this news that Deviation's laid off a bunch of people?
I mean, the first thing, it definitely sounds intertwined with Final Strike, especially since there's rumors been going around that they've been working together anyway, and they've canceled this sci-fi game, which is probably what Deviation was working on, which led to
Hmm.
the layoff of all these people. I don't know. It's always a little bit, the economy kind of sucks, and it's always a little bit scary when they
Yeah.
start laying off people. So you kind of assume there will be some sort of impact on the video game industry. The Pixel Opus story made more sense to me last week, and the Media Molecule story made a lot of sense to me too. This one, it kind of surprised me a little bit because it's like, what has it been like? I mean, it's barely been, I guess it's been 18 months
Hmm.
since the partnership kind of came together. So it seems like, I don't take so long to make a game. It's like, is that enough time to really vet them out to know they can't handle something? Like,
Right.
I'd like to know what the review process showed. Clearly,
Right.
something pretty pretty extreme. But it's just so weird to me that, not weird to me, but that's not the right way to put that. I guess in the back of my head, I always had this thought that, like, if PlayStation or Microsoft or Tencent or any other communist people keep buying all these studios, that eventually they're going to start having to close them or
Right.
shutter them or combine them or something. So maybe we're starting to finally see that, like, they've invested all these money in these different studios, and I guess we're kind of now far enough away from those purchases that we're kind of getting to the point where they have to kind of show some progress. And if they don't, they're cutting them off pretty quick, is what it feels like. It seems very, I mean, it kind of seems harsh. Maybe it's not, but it just seems very like, we've given you X amount of time and you've given us one thing, or what you've given us sucks. We're done. We're moving on. And it seems like, from a business perspective, I don't know, it makes a lot of sense to me to run it like that, because you want to keep it competitive and tight. You want to keep your
Hmm.
ship in order. You can't have people lollygagging around. They can't be like, well, Deviation can fuck off for 3 years, but we can't. You don't want that kind of thing to
Hmm.
happen. So
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. I feel like this was inevitable at some point with the way that all these studios are getting snatched up by these bigger companies. But we'll probably never know the full story about why all of these were shut down. I assume there's some sort of NDA involved in video game making. So even if
Hmm.
they probably couldn't even tell us anyway for a couple of years. So who knows? But
Right. Yeah, you're right. We might eventually one of these days hear about, whatever deviation it is making, was making. That's one of the big question marks at the moment is we don't have any clue as to whether or not they're still functioning, are they still open or not? I mean, if let's say that they were at 100, we know they're less than 200 staff, between 100 and 200 based on wording of things. So either way, they've lost almost half their people. Let's say they were at 150, they've lost well over half their staff. So to me, it reads as if, part of the review process that PlayStation goes through, or is currently going through, that they pulled their funding. PlayStation did on the project, and the Deviation is an interesting, I guess, case study because they're not a first party studio like Pixel Opus or like Media Molecule. So PlayStation doesn't have direct
Mhm.
control over them per se. They do over the IP, I guess, because PlayStation would own that. But in terms of the studio itself and its operations, PlayStation can't shut that studio down. They don't own
Right.
them. They
But
can just pull.
they pulled the funding, then, like, they
Correct.
basically run the studio in a way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But if they pull the money away from them that they'd given them, then all of a sudden you're Deviation Games and you've got to lay off 90 people to make payroll. So, like you said, in effect, you are potentially killing that studio and you're
Mhm.
certainly killing that project, while they regroup and reorganize at Deviation Games, is what it sounds like to me. So, will PlayStation address this? I think they're going to have to because they came out and announced them at, I think, either Summer Game Fest or the Game Awards, in 21, that this was a thing, that they were partners. So I don't think that they can just like quietly let Deviation disappear is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And so eventually I think that they'll have to talk about this, vaguely, of course. They'll say whatever PR marketing shit, we've decided to move on, yada yada. But the kind of overarching, really interesting point of all this is what I was telling you at the end there, that they're obviously reviewing all of their teams. And we now know that Pixel Opus is done. Deviation, in a sense, potentially sounds like they are done. I think that if Media Molecule didn't have their studio head, hadn't won a BAFTA, I think they would be done. I think that Sony and PlayStation wanted to close Media Molecule so bad, I bet. Like, I bet they were like, "All right, we're done with these guys." I bet they wanted to close them so bad, and then that somebody was like, "Guys, we can't do this." They love them in the UK, and the UK is so important to us, like, we just can't close them down. So, I bet I bet that was, like a seesaw, at PlayStation when they were trying to decide what to do with Media Molecule, and then obviously what they ended up doing was forcing Media Molecule to abandon dreams, abandon their dreams, and start making an actual game. And then they basically told all those co-founders that we've been talking about that have been leaving the studio, like, listen, you can either stay and make a game or you can go. No hard feelings. We understand, but we own you. This is the way it's going to go. And it sounds like it's kind of circling back here. I don't know. Deviation might not be long for this world either. At least potentially not in the current sense that we know them. But like you said, that must have been a not very good looking game because they had guys who worked on Call of Duty. They had the guy who directed several Call of Duty games,
Right.
and it must have looked like absolute shit for them to pull their funding. Is if we're, and of course we're assuming. Number two, PlayStation Studio Guerrilla Games revealed this week as part of their 20th anniversary note on the PlayStation blog that the Horizon franchise has crossed 32.7 million units sold slash downloaded, with 8.4 million of that being Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West reached 8.4 million in 14 months on the market. For comparison, it took the original game 2 years to hit 10 million copies sold, and it shows a steady trajectory for the franchise and perhaps some mild growth by the time it's all said and done. Guerrilla was founded in 2003 and made Killzone games for a decade before announcing Horizon Zero Dawn to the world at E3 2015. It would launch nearly 2 years later in February of 2017. Of course, Guerrilla and PlayStation showed no signs of resting the Horizon IP, as we now know that a third mainline game is in the works, as well as a co op game, a Netflix show, and potentially an MMO of some sort. So, what do you think about Horizon?
Well, can we agree off the top that Horizon is better than any of the Killzone games.
I would agree. I would definitely agree with that, yeah.
I mean, I agree. It would be, I say this, but I wouldn't mind another Killzone game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, since we don't have a first person shooter from
Yep,
PlayStation.
too much to ask, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, I don't know, for some reason I tie Horizon and The Last of Us together. Maybe it's because an iteration of the game has came out around itself each time. Maybe
Mhm.
that's kind of what's in my head with it. And then the fact that they're, it's, I know that they own the IP, so it makes sense, but like they're throwing it into a co-op and a Netflix and MMO. So God, it's like, are we doing this Marvels thing again? Or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's just a lot of shit going on there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think what's interesting is it's basically on pace to sell the same amount of games in, well, it'd be a little bit more, but 10
Mhm.
million copies on back to back. So I mean, they've earned the right, I guess, to completely crush it out with everything else they're doing. Is the Netflix show animated?
N my no, my understanding is it's not, so,
How does this work? In my
I
head, it
don't
was
know.
animated. Okay,
I well,
Jesus.
we talked about how we thought it would be a perfect animated show, but, yeah, they're
That's what I
not doing
wanted.
it. Mhm.
That's fucking crazy. Anyway, good for them.
It's gonna be an expensive show if it's not animated.
That's what I thought. It'd be expensive anyway, even if it was. But
Yeah.
and then they just didn't. They just what did they just put out? Didn't they just put out the thing you've been playing?
Yeah, Burning Shores,
Burning
DLC.
Shores. I was gonna say Boulder Shores. Oh, perfect. But no, I mean, again, it's another example of, you know, this is what PlayStation wants these people to make for them, and maybe that's why Deviation's getting closed. But it's kind of
Mm,
hard to hold people to the caliber of a Horizon or a Last of Us or Uncharted or whatever. But it's,
mm.
I don't know, man. It's hard for me to imagine that they could do much more with it. I mean, you played it more than I have, but every time I see it, I just don't it just seems like it seems like a major league version of Ratchet and Clank to me. Am I even close?
Of you talking about Horizon?
Yeah, I don't know
No,
why.
it's
They're the same thing to me.
yeah, well, it's more like, it's more of a monster like we've talked about, it's a Monster Hunter game, basically, is what
That's why
Horizon is. It's a
that's why I
Monster
hate it.
Hunter game with a really good story. 8.4 million is a lot of games sold, first of all, but at the same time, that seems a little slow in a way, like 8.4 million, that's a lot. And most companies would be thrilled to sell 8.4 million. I mean, we talked about last week about how Capcom wants to sell 10 million copies of Street Fighter 6, and that would be huge for them. So 8.4 million, certainly nothing to scoff at. But the problem I feel like is that it seems like it's not on a very good pace to outsell the original by a lot. It's going to outsell the original for sure, but not by as much as maybe you would expect a sequel to do for PlayStation. So I mean, they've obviously made it known now how many they've sold, but I would love to know if they find that to be a disappointment or not. And we'll never know because we don't know what the average price of each of those copies was sold for Horizon Forbidden West. Although PlayStation doesn't really put their first party games on sale
Mhm.
anymore. They're doing that like Nintendo thing where they very rarely put their first party games on sale. So could be a huge success for them as far as they're concerned this generation. But I don't know. I just find that curious. 8.4, like I said, still good, but it's you would feel like that this would be a game that should sell like, I don't know, 15 million copies or something like that, like 50% more than the original game. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's still only 14 months out, but it's hard to imagine that it's going to sell, very much more, maybe a couple more million. But then again, we say that and think about how many more PS5s are going to be sold in the next several years. So we'll see. But as far as your other point in terms of all the other Horizon things that they're working on, I have a really big fear at this point that they're going to fatigue the
Mhm.
Horizon IP. As someone who has played and finished Burning Shores, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, I've talked about on the show. I love the Horizon games. Both 1 and 2 are great. Both DLCs are great in my opinion. I think it's one of PlayStation's best franchises at this point. I think Forbidden West is one of PS5's best games. It's maybe the best story so far of an original, game or a new game, if you will, on PS5. It's a great story, and, really, it's a great kind of universe that they're building, and so I understand all this other ancillary stuff in terms of, a Netflix show and whatever, an MMO and a co-op game. Like, I definitely see where they're going with this, and but my fear is that they're doing too much too
Mhm.
fast. I say that as someone who thinks that the Horizon IP is ripe for expansion and storytelling because I'm talking in circles a little bit to not spoil the games, but they could literally go anywhere that they want to at this point with Horizon because of where the story has gone. And it's really cool. But are they doing it, like I said, too much, too fast? Potentially. So we'll see. Number three, PlayStation announced a brand new initiative this week to support emerging indie game makers in India called the India Hero Project. If
Ooh.
that name sounds familiar to you, that's because PlayStation already has the China Hero Project, excuse me. It's up and running and it's produced 17 games since launching in 2016. The India Hero Project will work almost exactly the same, with Sony providing developers a minimum of $100,000 to bring their game to market, as well as providing access to PlayStation dev kits, tech support, and marketing activities. This time around, the India initiative will not support development of PS4 games, opting instead for PS5, PSVR 2, and PC, but will also consider mobile games on a case by case basis. As far as how many projects PlayStation is hoping to fund, that number seems fluid depending on the quality of games they can find, with Sony Interactive Entertainment's Radhika Thakur saying, quote, "Our goal is to support diversity in stories delivered through interactive entertainment experiences. Ultimately, the number of titles we can support depends on the quality of the projects and the needs of the developers." End quote. Okay, what do you think about this expansion into another country that we don't hear a lot out of from a video game standpoint?
Alright, I don't think this is a bad idea, and actually, I like that they're in India more than I like that they're in China for obvious reasons, communist. But
Mm,
anyway, I think
sure.
it's kind of a cool idea to find these markets that are kind of untapped, like, it makes sense to me. I mean, I wouldn't say put a bunch of money together and go to Kazakhstan, you're probably not gonna find anything there. But
Yeah.
it makes decent sense. India, China, maybe Brazil, I'm just thinking of bigger countries we don't hear a lot of from the video game
Mhm.
industry, because there's people there that play, and there's people there that have these really cool ideas. So
Right.
I think it's an awesome idea. My first question is $100,000 enough? Because that seems like not enough to make a video game, and I know nothing about video games, but that seems. I feel like marketing would
Yeah.
be 100K.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, if
um,
you're making a really small game, that's a pretty big
mhm.
chunk, but, I mean, you can make a game for $1,000,000, or less. It just really depends on the game, so,
But also, if you're part of this project, you could probably get some investment pretty easy, I think.
yeah, and 100,000 is also the minimum, so there's nothing to say Sony can't give someone $1,000,000, so,
You gotta prove that you're good, I guess, but
yeah.
the obvious thing I like is they're not supporting PS4 development, and I also like that
Mhm.
the mobile game is case by case, which I think really shows that PlayStation's like,
Mm.
"Look, we don't really that's not our thing." Like,
Right.
make a game for the console or for the headset, whatever.
Mm.
I think that's really cool, but yeah, I thought her comments that she went over at the end there were interesting. First of all, she did a really great marketing thing of working in half of the SIE name
Yeah.
into a comment. That's beautiful. You love to see that. But also she said, like, the number of titles depends on the quality of projects and the needs of the developers. So again, goes back to our first story, like, quality of the project is what's going to drive the funding from Sony. So step one is having the quality idea, right? And
Mm.
they've shown if you can't develop the idea, they're going to cut you off pretty quick. So
Yeah.
but it's right there. There's an answer right there. So if you have a bunch of great ideas, clearly they're going to back you if you can show that you can do it. So I mean, if you're part of the project, I think that's all you want, the opportunity to prove yourself. So, it
Yeah.
makes sense. I think it's cool.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think that it's a smart idea on the whole. Like, you can incubate these smaller games in these sort of developing video game countries, if you will. And, some of these, they might get a big hit out of one of these, like they could find a Rocket League or something like that, or Fall Guys or something like that from one of these projects. And then if you do that, you've made all your money back, right?
Right.
And It only takes one, and I think that we're seeing that mindset too in their live service initiative. The other thing I thought too, like you, was that the case by case basis of the mobile games read to me like, okay, like you said, we don't want a mobile game, but if you really make one that's like really fucking badass, okay, like we'll do it. But you've got to convince us that much more if you really want us to do a mobile game, is how I took that. So, um, very pleased that they're leaving PS4 behind in this regard, which I think also is another indicator that they're leaving PS4 behind, generally speaking,
Mhm,
starting right now, starting this year. I think it's cool. There's another initiative that I didn't realize that they had. They have one in Spain, but it's called something else. It's not a hero project. It's called something else. So they have something similar to this too in Spain. So they're branching out across the world as we can see, and
mhm.
it's a cool thing. I think it would kind of be neat to do, like you said, Brazil. I think isn't a very obvious one, to be honest. And then I think this is not so much on the same level, but I think it would be kinda cool if they did something in, like, New Zealand or Australia, because there's a lot of developers that are kind of, like, up and coming there, and
Right,
it'd be cool if they would incubate some things from there as well. Even South Korea, which I don't know if South Korea really needs our help, in that regard
right.
now or not, but because there's lots of cool stuff coming out of South Korea, I think that would be another obvious one that they could tap into, so,
If they could grab into these countries with really good, like India is a great example. They have Bollywood, but these countries
yeah,
that with these movie industries, they're obviously good at storytelling and they love storytelling. So why not?
right. Number 4, PlayStation announced the PlayStation Plus game catalog update for May of this week, and it'll be available for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tier subscribers starting on May the 16th. Coming to the service is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for PS5, Humanity for PS4, PS5, PSVR, and PSVR 2, and that's a day one release onto the service. We're also getting Watch Dogs Legion for PS4 and 5, Dishonored 2 for PS4, Dishonored Death of the Outsider for PS4, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin for PS4, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for PS4, Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration on the 4, Shadow of the Tomb Raider on the PS4, Bus Simulator 21 on PS4 and PS5, and it's getting a PS5 update and version on the same day on May 16th, so that's pretty cool. The Evil Within 2 on PS4, Wolfenstein Youngblood on PS4, so just a shit ton of Bethesda games. Also Thymesia for PS5, Rain World for PS4, Lake for PS4 and 5, Conan Exiles for PS4, Rune Factory 4 Special for PS4, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town for PS4, and we were supposed to get Soundfall for PS4 and PS5, but there was an update later in the week which removed it from North America and everywhere in the world other than Asia. So that was odd. On the premium games, we're getting Siphon Filter Logan's Shadow, which is from PSP, Blade Dancer Lineage of Light, also from PSP, Pursuit Force from PSP, and finally Ghostbusters, the video game remastered from PS4. So, what do you another big month, a decent month, I would say. What do you make of the lineup?
Like you said, it's the Bethesda roll call. I'm
For
excited
real.
to see how Humanity does. It's just a day one release. I think if
Mhm.
that goes pretty well, it might be a viable option for some of these. I mean, I'm supposed to call it a mid level game. That's probably not fair, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the Dishonoreds. I think those could be really cool. I just like the idea of that game, the way it kind of is. Like I like that it exists.
I think you would like those games because they're very similar to Hitman in a way. Like you experiment and kill people in different ways and like move
Yeah,
around the map and stuff. But anyway, go ahead.
I might try it out. Great chance to try Tomb Raiders. If you ever been worried about it or wanted to try it, you got three choices there. The
Yeah.
Wolfensteins always grab my attention, and I never play them. So maybe I'll get around
Yeah.
to that. This will sound crazy, but I would love Bus Simulator in VR.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That
I
would be
think it
so
would be
sick.
I think it would be awesome. Like it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Is Soundfall the song from that James Bond movie that Adele did? You know,
That was the same name
Soundfall.
that was the same name of the movie. What was the
Okay.
name of that movie?
All right. Cool. It's Siphon Filter.
That's
That's
the
what
name
you
of the
guys
song.
talk about, right?
Huh?
I've heard you guys talk about Siphon Filter a lot. or somebody, maybe it was PlayStation Access. What is
Probably
Pursuit
them.
Force? Is that what I want it to be?
I don't know. I don't know. I
Oh,
looked there I've seen a screenshot of it, but I don't know what that is because I never
yeah.
had the PSP is the one, like, Sony thing that's, like, a blind spot for me that because I never owned one.
I think it's a decent list. I mean, there's nothing really to complain about. I guess Ratchet and Clank is the what is that like the biggest thing on here?
Yeah, and
But yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. Watch Dogs Legion. I mean, people love that. So there's a lot
mm.
of decent stuff on here. I think you can give it a shot. The Evil Within too. I've heard a lot about that too.
I know you were shitting on Ratchet and Clank a minute ago, but I think that everyone should give that a shot. Really, really cool game, really good looking game, and a really cool sort of tech demo, if you will, for the PS5 in terms of like the instant jumping between worlds or whatever. It's kind of neat. It's not like earth shattering, but it's just a neat concept and it's a fun game. Like you said, Watch Dogs Legion is cool. Got it with my PS5 at launch. It's pretty neat. I have a theory, but I don't know if I'm ready to go. Here we go. Well, I have a theory, but I don't know if I'm ready to go like all the way because
Right?
I don't know if it makes total sense. But
Hmm.
the presence of all the Tomb Raider games being added to the service almost makes me, and the fact that we know that a new Tomb Raider game is supposed to be getting announced this year makes me wonder if a new Tomb Raider game will show up at the PlayStation Showcase. The reason why I'm hesitant to go all the way in on that is because I think that a Uncharted an Uncharted reboot is going to be present at the PlayStation Showcase, and I just don't think that Sony would announce an Uncharted reboot and a Tomb Raider reboot and the same because they're the same game, right? So I just don't think they would do that. But I have a theory.
I'm gonna give you 5 tinfoil hats out of 10 on that one.
Okay, thank you. It's better than the 3 or whatever you gave me last week.
Yeah, I
So
would say the Uncharted release, I'd give that a 7 out of 10
oh, wow.
because I just
Wow.
don't know. The Tomb Raider one almost makes sense. The Uncharted one, it just doesn't. It seems too soon. The Tomb Raider seems timely.
Oh, okay. So you think maybe no Uncharted, but yes on Tomb Raider at the showcase.
Yeah, that sounds more likely to me just with the timing because I feel like we're still too fresh from the movie.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So it could be an either or situation. Yeah, I could buy that. I could buy that. The one game that I'm super excited about on this list is Bus Simulator 21, which won't surprise you, but I'm 100% trying Bus Simulator 21 on PS5.
Is there co-op?
Oh, please hold. Let me see.
I would love to recreate speed with you on that game.
Yes. Who gets to be Keanu and who gets to be Sandra Bullock?
Either one's fine.
Okay.
I want to be the guy with the bomb. Can I be him? Who was that? Harvey Keitel?
Dennis close. Dennis Hopper.
Okay. He's still drunk from Hoosiers.
Oh, yes, Travis. It says supports up to 4 online players.
So,
Online play optional.
so what do we do together on the game?
Hang
We'll have to
on.
look into that.
Yeah, I need to know. I need to know what you do.
Uh,
Play in either single player or synced multiplayer mode. Transport your passengers safely and promptly to their destinations and be rewarded for time wins. Yes, we can run bus routes together. You have to download it. It's called we have to record it and we have to put it on YouTube.
you know, I
It's
can will support it.
perfect.
Oh
We
God.
have to do it. You've done it now. Okay. So I know what we're doing next week then. Anyway, so, yeah, decent month. Can't complain. You know, we're getting these big first party games slowly trickling out. So, yeah, nice month. Number 5, Sony also revealed the most downloaded games for the month of April on the PlayStation blog this week. On PS5, the top download was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, followed by Dead Island 2, MLB The Show 23, GTA 5, NBA 2K23, Modern Warfare 2, Resident Evil 4, EA Sports PGA Tour, Hogwarts Legacy, FIFA 23, WWE 2K23, Rainbow Six Siege, PGA Tour 2K23, so many damn 23s, Madden 23, holy shit, Mortal Kombat 11, which is that came, yeah, that's right. Spider Man Miles Morales, Dredge, Cyberpunk 2077, Gran Turismo 7, The Last of Us Part 1 at number 20. Over on PS4, the most downloaded game was The Last of Us Part 2, Minecraft, NBA 2K23, Red Dead Redemption 2, MLB The Show 23, UFC 4, FIFA 23, Gang Beasts again, GTA 5, Modern Warfare 2, Dead Island 2, The Hunter Call of the Wild, 7 Days to Die, Ark Survival Evolved, Batman Arkham Knight, A Way Out, Final Fantasy VI, Resident Evil 4, Mortal Kombat X, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 at number 20 on PS4. Over on PSVR 2, the most downloaded game for April was Creed Rise to Glory Championship Edition, Pavlov, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2, Job Simulator, Kayak VR Mirage, The Dark Pictures Switchback, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, Synth Riders, Pistol Whip, Swordsman VR was the last one there at number 10. And then over on free to play, the top three were Fortnite, Warzone 2.0, and Overwatch 2. Okay. Anything stand out to you?
First of all, there's like 11 Star Wars games on this list. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Yes.
God damn. On the 5, I'm really happy with the top 2. Really happy that Jedi Survivor and Dead Island 2 are there, mostly because it's not the normal bullshit, and I'm glad to see something else there.
True. Fair.
Can't believe GTA is still number 4. It blows my fucking mind. I don't know who doesn't own it. Do people delete it and download it repeatedly for
Yeah.
fun? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Like, oh, we got to boost that number up. Wasn't
Yeah,
good for March.
I don't know what Dredge is. No idea what that is.
It's that creepy fishing game that I reviewed a little while back. I think I've told you about it.
Probably. Did you give it a 5
I
or
gave it an
7?
8.
Oh,
I gave it an 8.
don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny to me that Cyberpunk is there, and I can't believe Gran Turismo is up there. Like, I know it's at 19, but it's like I don't know why we
Mhm.
are downloading it again. They had that Olympic thing, but I don't think that would make people download a game. Like,
Yeah.
surely they know to be Olympic level, you can't have the game uninstalled. You're just
Right.
for any game. So I don't. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, that's all I have to comment on. I don't. Other than the VR2, I love that the Creed's
Mhm.
number 1. A lot of people are getting in shape for that. Nothing else on there is really too surprising, and I don't care about PS4.
Mhm. Well, they just totally just skip PS4 altogether, just fuck it, huh? Yeah, so no surprise at the top there on PS5, really, with Jedi Survivor being number 1, but what does surprise me somewhat, honestly, is Dead Island 2 being the second most downloaded game on PS5. I didn't really expect that. I felt like people would probably be a little bit lukewarm on that, considering all the kind of drama leading up to release with all the changing of developers and this and that, but it did get reviewed pretty well, and so there's that, but and we also know that it sold like 1,000,000 copies in 3 days, so, obviously, it's off to a pretty good start. I don't think there's anything else on PS5 that really stands out to me other than Dredge cracking the top 20, which is awesome. That's a really good game, and, I think it's very deserving of being in the top 20, so I was pleased to see that there. Of course, Spider-Man Miles Morales, almost a 3-year-old game at this point, popping back in there. I guess that doesn't mean much because look at something like Rainbow Six Siege, but it's not a live service, so
Well, GTA is 10 years old.
true, but Miles Morales being a strictly single player
Mhm.
game, 3 years old, cracking into the top 20 is outrageous. And then, PS4, Gang Beasts holding on in the top 20 there. Like, that's insane to me, like, that people are just like I don't know if people are discovering that or if, like, that's become a thing on Twitch now or something because that's just kind of, like, out of nowhere. Because it used to be that other game that always pops up that we talk about. Holy
Hmm.
shit, what's
The
the one that's
Forest?
all The Forest, yeah, The Forest, and it's like Gang Beasts has, like, replaced The Forest on the monthly PS4 list, so I don't know what's going on there. And, PSVR 2, Creed was the big release in April, so that kinda checks out. Pavlov hanging on there at number 2, that's, like, the most popular game, I would say, on PSVR 2.
Pavlok?
It's a typo, yeah.
Mm.
It's supposed to be Pavlov. Let's see what else here. I would I want one thing I'm curious about on free to play and on PSVR 2 is this poker game that just came out this week that I'm going to talk about in a little bit.
Yes.
I'm assuming that it's going to be in the free to play category by default, which means that it has no chance of cracking the top 10. But if they charted it on PSVR 2, I think it would crack the top 10. So that's kind of a shame for those guys. But anyway, let's move on. Number 6, we also have a bunch of news nuggets as well here, Travis, so feel free to join me. First nugget, PlayStation VR 2 officially became available at retailers in the US and the UK this week. It had previously only been available via PlayStation Direct for its first 2 months on the market, and, so go out and get yours now. You can go walk into a store and get it, and, there's no reason really not to. Second nugget. Newswire Reuters reported that European regulators will approve the Microsoft Activision deal on May 15th, although there is some belief among a couple of reporters online that that is they're operating under old assumptions, so they're not sure that they're going to actually approve it on the 15th, but I'd say they will. Along those lines, the British CMA announced this week that they've added further stipulations to their blockage of the deal. They will now require written consent for either Microsoft or Activision Blizzard King to acquire an interest in the other company, acquire an interest in another business that has an interest in either company, or hold an option to acquire an interest in either of the previous scenarios. So basically, they're not going to allow them to entangle themselves with one another in any way possible financially. Also, PSVR 2 received a couple of shadow drops this week, an upgraded version of Transformers Beyond Reality, and the aforementioned free to play game Poker Stars. Transformers is a free upgrade for PSVR 2 owners and is an arcade style first person shooter that bumps the frame rate to 70 frames per second, increases visual fidelity, adds haptic feedback support, and other gameplay improvements. And Poker Stars is just flat out wonderful. And I'm going to talk about it momentarily. Also, MLB The Show 23's season 2 rewards program dropped this week, Travis, and it's inspired by the kaiju film genre, if that interests you. So, don't know how that adds up at all, but okay. I guess it's like putting Kevin Durant in the fucking Call of Duty. So,
I pictured the black and white film version from Ghost of
Godzilla.
Tsushima.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just
Oh, yeah.
playing
That's it.
baseball, and it's like all black and floaty, and like the old samurai movies. I
Yeah.
don't know what Kaji is.
Kaiju's like Godzilla and King Kong and all the like big oversized monsters.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up and see what it looks like.
Yeah, you do. You do. Also, the Gran Turismo World Series 2023 started on May 13th with the Nations Cup. The Manufacturers' Cup begins on June 7th. The World Series Showdown will take place live in person in Amsterdam on August 11th and 12th. And the World Finals will take place in early December, although a specific date and venue has yet to be announced. Maybe we'll see Travis there.
Uh-huh.
Next nugget, slice of life soccer game Despelote was announced for PS5 from publisher Panic. It's coming sometime in 2024 and it's intriguing. It looks different. And I can't say that I've ever seen a game look like that.
What does that mean at all? I don't know what that means.
So you're basically like it's like a life sim game. Like you walk around, talk to people in your neighborhood and your friends and stuff, but you're like kicking a soccer ball around and like playing soccer games at the same time. It's different. It's unique.
It's like a favela in Brazil, and you're playing soccer.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay,
You
that's
nailed it.
interesting.
Mhm. Also, website Video Games Chronicle reported that a big PlayStation Showcase event is mere weeks away, according to Giant Bomb journalist Jeff Grubb, who said he is hearing that an event is scheduled for the week of May 25th. The 25th is a Thursday, by the way, but Grubb elaborated that he thinks that is the latest date that it could be as of right now. Elsewhere, rumors spread this week that PlayStation and Konami have cemented an exclusivity deal for a slate of upcoming PS5 titles, including Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and Castlevania. The sources are strong and would be huge if the rumors pan out. So, sounds like we're going to get a showcase potentially around the 25th, and that's fucking dope.
With a Konami announcement.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, which I'm still mad about. Silent Hill 2, and, I don't know what they could be doing with Castlevania. I guess I mean, if they're making, like, a totally new, like, Unreal Engine 5 game, that'd be kinda neat, I guess, but we'll see. Not much longer. Not much longer. Also, Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson told investors during the company's latest earnings call that essentially he couldn't care less about the Microsoft Activision merger and added that EA is open for business when it comes to a potential merger of its own, as Wilson predicts there will be further consolidation in the industry. EA also revealed that FIFA 23 only took 6 months on the market to outsell FIFA 22. In related FIFA news, insider Tom Henderson reported that EA plans to reveal its FIFA successor called EA Sports FC 24 in mid July. And then
Why
even more. Go ahead.
okay, why would he care about the Microsoft merger? Like, there's no reason for him to, in my opinion.
Right.
It's just like,
Right.
"Oh, cool, they're doing that, whatever." Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I mean,
don't understand.
what's he supposed to say?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, is he worried about it from a battlefield perspective? Like, that doesn't change what they need to do in
Yeah,
Battlefield, so, I don't know.
right. Also, in even more EA news, Travis, according to the publisher's financials, Dragon Age, Dreadwolf, and Skate won't release before April 2024 as they're not slated for the current fiscal year. Take Two publishing label Private Division has signed an agreement to publish a new action adventure game from Pokemon developer Game Freak, which is quite interesting. It's expected to release by March of 2026, which is not very interesting at all. So, the Pokemon bros are going to branch out to something not Pokemon, which is
Well,
interesting.
Pokemon's action adventure, you have fighting, wandering around the Pokemon land.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Good point. Also, Sony sunsetted the PlayStation Plus collection for PS5 owners this week, which has been around since the console's launch in 2020. It included 20 blockbuster games for free, ranging from Battlefield 1 to God of War to Monster Hunter World. So, hopefully, you claimed all those and at least added them to your download list, your library, even if you don't plan on downloading them at the moment. FIFA 23 is joining the EA Play library on May 16th. Bungie has won yet another lawsuit against cheat makers, this time a $5.6 million award from Lavi Cheats. So essentially, just quit fucking around with Bungie.
Hey, if you there's videos on the internet of what Call of Duty is doing with cheaters. We talked about this last week.
Uh, I don't know. Are they like spawning them in with like no guns and shit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I enjoy
awesome.
it thoroughly.
Yeah, it's very cool. Next nugget, Capcom published its end of year financials this week, which revealed they sold more games in the fiscal year than any other year in the company's history, having sold 41.7 million units in the 12-month period. As a result, Capcom stock price is at an all-time high. Imagine that.
Fucking unreal.
Yeah, the previous year they sold like 34 million, so they sold 7 million more games than they did the year before. That's insane for one publisher. Developer Team Cherry announced that Hollow Knight Silk Song has been delayed out of the first half of this year. First person shooter horror game Amnesia the Bunker has been delayed to June 6th after just announcing last week that it would be releasing May the 16th. Reliable leaker Aggiornamenti Lumia tweeted on Thursday that Soulsborne I can't say an Italian name without sounding like I'm in a fucking cartoon. Reliable leaker Aggiornamenti Lumia tweeted on Thursday that Soulsborne style game Lords of the Fallen is releasing October the 13th for PS5. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby No Dick, stated this week that the growth of AI could lead to a new Guitar Hero game that takes advantage of the technology.
How would that?
Uh,
How does that go together? I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. I don't fucking
Whatever.
know. It's just a music game with a fucking guitar. I don't know. What
Yeah.
do you
How
need
could?
AI for?
How do we need? Are they gonna make shit up?
I don't know.
Uh,
Something Bobby No Dick would say.
mhm.
Also, CD Projekt Red revealed this week that it has concluded work on, quote, defining a new framework, end quote, for Project Sirius, its multiplayer Witcher game, which apparently also is going to have single player as well. So that's news. Jeff Keighley announced that his Summer Game Fest show will feature over 40 major publishers, including PlayStation, who, in my opinion, will likely show off Death Stranding 2 and potentially action RPG Wayfinder, which is releasing it later this year. Along those lines, publisher Devolver Digital announced that they will be holding their own Devolver Direct showcase in June, with more information coming soon. Japanese electronics company Sharp revealed in an earnings call this week that they are producing LCD displays for a quote unquote new gaming console. Most speculation has pointed to the next Nintendo Switch, but there is also the possibility that it is for PlayStation's Q Lite remote play device. So I'm a little confused on this because Nintendo has made the Switch OLED now. So it would feel weird for them to go backwards back to an LCD from an OLED display, but also a very Nintendo thing to do, nevertheless. So I'm not quite sure that it's one or the other. The thing that is kind of working against PlayStation's Q Lite is that they've referred to it as a gaming console, which, as far as we know, it's not a gaming console. It's a remote play kind of accessory peripheral thing. So I don't know. We'll see. Also, website Games Industry reported that Power Wash Simulator has reached 7 million players since its release last year. Development services company Virtuous has opened a new studio in Warsaw, Poland, which will be a new brand of Virtuous Labs focused on providing support for graphics rendering and optimization. Keywords Studios has acquired Seattle based developer Hardsuit Labs, which has previously worked on Call of Duty, Gears of War, State of Decay, and Crash Bandicoot franchises in a support role. They were currently working with Epic Games on Fortnite prior to being acquired.
Every time we read stuff like this, when you read off a list of, it's like, wow, they've done a lot of shit on a lot of known games.
Yeah,
But it's like, what were they doing? Were they just like
right.
smoothing textures, or were they, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
No,
maybe they
yeah,
were
I get it.
doing nothing, but my
Yeah.
expectations are always so fucking high.
Yeah, it's like they could have just been making fucking, you know, artwork. Like, who knows? Like you said, uh, smoothing textures. Hard to say. Also, website Push Square reported that trams and school buses
Hell
are
yeah.
coming to Bus Simulator 21 as a part of that free upgrade that we mentioned earlier to PS5 on May 16th. Publisher Astragon, who is the same publisher of my beloved Police Simulator Patrol Officers, also revealed that a post launch roadmap is going all the way through the end of the year for the sim. Very
It's
cool.
exciting. We gotta look at the roadmap to make sure we know we're good. I don't understand. I still don't know how we co-op. Do we race each other? Do you drive me around? I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we have like a,
Mm,
we own the bus company and we're,
mhm.
we got to get people from A to B and,
Gotta make some
we
nice
need,
routes.
yeah, we got to make some routes and keep it above 55 miles an hour.
Right.
Next nugget. The first expansion for Saints Row dropped this week, and it's only $10 if you're interested. It comes alongside a massive quality of life update for the game as well.
Is it true on that game that you start your crime to pay off your student loan debts?
I believe so, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I read that and thought it was a joke.
yeah, it's something like that. Yeah,
Uh-huh, okay.
I mean, I've thought about it. Capcom has apparently registered a trademark for Monster Hunter Puzzles Feline in North America and Europe or Europose or whatever. What is that?
Europose, yeah.
Oh, anyway, Monster Hunter Puzzles was a Japan-only PSP game that sounds like it could be coming to PS Plus Premium in the very near future. Insider Tom Henderson reported that Assassin's Creed Mirage has been internally delayed from August to October and that the VR Assassin's Creed game slated for this year has been pushed back a couple of months as well. I hate that it's delayed because had my mind set that I was going to be playing it in August, and here we are.
I'm very excited about, I think the VR could be very cool, like,
I
very
agree.
cool.
Yeah, I agree. I
Like,
agree.
that might sell some units, like, for, like, consoles. We don't call it
Mhm.
PSVR console, even call it.
Yeah, I agree. It would be some shit if PlayStation somehow got like a 1 year exclusivity on that game
Oh,
somehow.
wow.
That'd be fucking nuts. That would be nuts. Don't rule it out. I mean, it's possible. They do with all these other fucking games.
Well, the Europose CMA might block it.
You're right. Next nugget, the Bloodborne remake remaster rumors return this week as God of War and the Twisted Metal creator David Jaffe said that he had heard from a journalist friend that it is happening and would be revealed very soon. However, in a bit of drama, notable From Software insider Lance McDonald completely refuted the claims, saying that
Mm.
it's not true. So, who knows? Hard to say. Adventure game A Plague Tale Requiem finally received a 60 frames per second performance mode on PS5 this week. One Piece Odyssey's story DLC called Reunion of Memories will hit PS4 and PS5 on May 25th. Free to play racer Trackmania released on PS4 and PS5 on May 15th. EA and Codemasters released a gameplay deep dive for F1 at 23 this week if you're interested. And the game will not support PSVR 2 despite supporting other VR headsets we also learned this week, which is fucking horse shit.
That's a total EA move, but
It
it does
is.
look really cool. It looks really nice, so
It does. It does. As long as we can co-op, I'm in, like I said. Also, indie game Goodbye Volcano High has been delayed from June to August 29th. It is one of the last remaining titles from PlayStation's 2020 PS5 showcase alongside a vaporware title A Little Devil Inside. At least they have a date. At least we've seen the fucking game in the last year. Also, former Google Stadia exclusive Guilt is getting a PS4 and PS5 release on July 6th from developer Tequila Works. FIFA 23 players on PS5 are reporting a game crashing issue caused by having 100 or more friends on your PlayStation friends list, which is very cool.
Who has that many friends?
I don't know. Just be a fucking social vegan and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, maybe, but, like, it's like you get on every night and you're like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna get in a party with all these people and play with them." Like, everybody plays with, like, 3 or 4 people. I don't know, it's just
Right.
odd to me.
Yeah. No, I understand. Also, PlayStation Plus Premium subscribers got a new game trial this week for Weird West. Speaking of, Weird West developer Wolf Eye Studios has partnered with publisher Galaxy Interactive on their next game, which they of course say is an quote unquote ambitious IP. Doesn't everybody? Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that HBO's The Last of Us Season 2 has been reportedly delayed due to the ongoing writer's strike in America. Filming will likely not begin now until early 2024, potentially putting the second season off until all the way to 2025. So
Oh,
fuck
no.
me. Fuck me. Oh no. Yeah, fuck me. Third game might be out before that. Anyway, website Insider Gaming reported that the next Call of Duty game is Modern Warfare 3 and it's scheduled to be revealed on August the 1st. The game was originally supposed to just be DLC for Modern Warfare 2, but has now been spun off into its own full blown game. Insider Gaming also reports that it is scheduled to launch on November the 10th for PS4 and PS5, and I'm really not interested. Like, fuck off. Like a year later, like it's what it was supposed to be DLC doesn't give you a lot of confidence.
Mhm.
It's also not Infinity Ward, it's Sledgehammer Games making it, and they're the ones that made, like, Call of Duty World War II and
Yeah, they always suck.
the ones nobody likes, I think, so. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Overwatch 2, Sifu, Battlefield 2042, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and MLB The Show 23. The Mortal Kombat Twitter account was once again teasing a reveal of a new game this week, and it appears to be lining up for an appearance at the PlayStation Showcase. Later in the week, the game fully leaked. It is a reboot of the franchise dubbed simply Mortal Kombat 1, and it is scheduled for a September release on PS5 with a $250 collector's edition, should you
Wow.
choose. Yeah, DLC characters also leaked, and they'll reportedly include a Peacemaker and Homelander. So there you go. We've got our first, what I'm going to assume is a PlayStation Showcase leak.
Mhm.
Also, the LinkedIn page of a senior visual effects artist at Sony Interactive Entertainment lists that he worked on an quote unannounced project 2023 end quote. So I say that to say that, like you and I have talked about on the show, Sony, i.e., PlayStation, has still one unannounced game that we don't know about coming out this year. So I'm curious if that's something like Helldivers 2, like Twisted Metal, or if that's like a full blown like triple A, like a whatever Ghost of Tsushima. Not, I'm not saying it's Ghost of Tsushima, but something big, or is it one of these service games? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, the EA wants to merge, maybe they're gonna buy EA and it's gonna be, you know,
Phew.
whatever EA's done.
If PlayStation bought EA, I fuck that'd be nuts. I don't want them to do that for the
They get
record, but
blocked.
yeah, it would probably. Next nugget. Elden Ring has crossed 20.5 million copies sold in its 14 months since launch, which is insane. Way more than Horizon Forbidden West 14-month period. We also learned this week that its DLC, called a Shadow of the Erd Tree, might not be released until next spring, according to recent financial reports for FromSoft parent company Kadokawa Corporation. PlayStation Studio Bungie, well, they're technically not a part of PlayStation Studios, but PlayStation subsidiary, I should say, Bungie, has hired former Warner Brothers Discovery executive Gabriel Van Huss as head of linear media for the Destiny IP, which is a fancy way of saying that they will work on adapting the franchise for film, television, comics, books, and more.
This that couldn't be a more perfect comic. Like, just
I mean,
imagine the
yeah,
people that would read
yeah.
that, and they'll make it to a tabletop game, and they'll make little models. It's just
I mean,
destined for that.
sure, sure. Also, developer Team Kill Media, the studio behind cosmic horror game Quantum Error, revealed on Twitter this week that they are focusing on the PS5 version first and foremost. pushing the highest graphical fidelity possible, and that the PS4 version will come, quote unquote, later down the road, and it will be a downgraded version. So why not just cancel PS4 altogether? But
Yeah, why don't we just downgrade it?
yeah, that's good. I like that. Let's downgrade it, make it disappear. Shh. Shh. Next nugget, website Gematsu reported that open world party game The Sisters 2 Road to the Game was announced for PS4 and PS5. It's due out October the 5th, and it features Whoopi Goldberg.
Does it really?
No, I'm
Oh,
teasing.
because I was like, that's what I
You
thought
know
when you read
the
that.
No, I'm
Uh-huh.
teasing. New Montreal-based studio Cut to Bits announced their first game. It's a Metroidvania called Adventure to the Vile, and it's scheduled to launch on consoles and PC sometime next year.
That's a nice game name.
It is. First person survival horror game Shame Legacy is releasing on PS4 and PS5 on May the 30th. Retro game Gimmick Special Edition is launching on PS4 on July 6th. Third person story driven survival horror game Daymare 1994 Sandcastle, a prequel to Daymare 1998, is launching for PS4 and PS5 on August 30th. Action platformer Mr. Run and Jump will release for PS4 and PS5 on July 25th. Narrative adventure game Dordogne will
The
launch for
Italian.
that's French.
Oh,
Dordogne. It's the same. Will launch for PS4 and PS5 on June 13th. Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express was announced for PS4 and PS5, and it will launch this fall. Chinese studio Ace Entertainment, Ace, You Are Best, announced fantasy style farming sim adventure game Tales of Sekiyu. It is coming to PlayStation consoles at an undetermined time in the future. Publisher NIS America, that's Nippon Ichi Software, has released
oh,
a demo for dungeon crawling strategy RPG Monster Menu, the Scavenger's Cookbook for PS4 and PS5. Progress will transfer to the full game, which is releasing on May 23rd in North America and May 26th in the Europe, or the Europose, as I said earlier.
it's French for Europe.
Relaxing life sim RPG Alchemic Cutie is coming to PS4 and PS5 on June 16th. 3D action platformer Proto Droid Delta will launch for PS4 on May 25th. Retro arcade action platformer Cyber Citizen Shockman will come to
Jeez.
PS4 and PS5 on May 19th. It originally launched for PC in March of 1989 in Japan only, and this will be the first time it's been available outside of the country. Akatsuki Games and Koei Tecmo announced that they have partnered to co-develop a quote next gen game that leverages strengths of both companies. End quote.
That's the
Okay,
point of a merger
right.
or a
And
partnership, whatever.
yes. And finally, Travis Gamatsu reported that publisher Marvelous announced the Marvelous Game Showcase 2023. It's coming in a late
hmm
May. Share info on their upcoming console and PC releases.
Yeah, I'm coming in May too.
Yeah, same. It's going to be marvelous. And anyway, that's all for the news this week. And I'll turn it over to Travis now for this week's new games.
All right, on May 8th, we have Oregon Quarter. I don't know what that is. Hopefully, you can slice up some organs. We have Wild West Definitive Edition.
Hmm.
So I was going to say I would love a Wild West game, but that's Red Dead. So anyway, May 9th, Transformers Beyond Reality. Poker Stars, YX, IX, Monstrum Nox. On May the 10th, we have Garden Simulator.
Mm,
All the grandmas are on that.
mm.
Pretty Girls 2048 Strike. I think that's a bowling game.
All the nerds are on that.
Yeah. Pseudo Cat. Pseudo
Mm.
Cats.
All the dogs are on that.
On the 11th, we have After You, Another Fisherman's Tale, Arcade Archives, Mazinger Z, Basketball Club Story, Biz Builder Deluxe, Death or Treat, Dreaming Canvas, Drift CE, which you sent me, and I think CE means 1,000, so I think it's called Drift 1,000, Drift 1,000.
Oh, interesting.
It looks very difficult to me.
Mm.
Filthy Animals Heist Simulator,
Mm-hmm.
I'm into that.
Mm-hmm.
Fuga, Melodies of Steel 2, Herodes, Herodes, whatever. Marvel's Midnight Suns, for the Love of God that's out, Mathland, Nightmare Reaper, Space Engineers, TT Isle of Man, Right on the Edge 3, which is a motorcycle racing game, and then Walkabout Mini Golf on the VR2.
Interesting. I just want to point out to you, just quickly, that Filthy Animals Heist Simulator looks wonderful. It's currently on a 20% discount for PlayStation Plus for 15.99.
Is it are you animals or are you the wet bandits from Home
You
Alone?
are you are animals,
Okay.
and it's I'm sending it to you now for you to take a look at. What else here? What else here? What else here? Another Fisherman's Tale. I reviewed that for Gaming Nexus. Gave it a 6.5, which is below average for us. I'm lower this time around than most other publications. It's been getting eights from what I saw. I wasn't terribly impressed with it. Story ended up being good, but it took a while to get there, in my opinion. The drift game looks cool, but like you said, it looks kind of hard. Very interested in Filthy Animals. It looks hilarious. Let's see here. Anything else? That TT Isle of Man is that motorcycle
Mhm.
racing game. Looks kind of hard as well. Walkabout Mini Golf on PSVR 2 is supposedly excellent. Very good. And I have it on my list to pick it up on a sale at some point. Now is just not a good time for me to do
Uh-huh.
that. And it sounds like you're watching Filthy Animals potentially.
It looks like Gang Beast, but you're trying to do a heist.
Yes. And
It's
when you
fucking ignorant.
when your teammates get downed, you revive them by flushing them down the toilet.
Everything's on fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks great.
So if we
Spinning this guy in a circle. Okay.
I know we can get
Ooh.
Jacob to play it at
Ooh.
the very least. So you just
Okay.
let me know if you want to do it.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, like I said, it's on sale. But anyway, just an average week, let's say, for new releases this week. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's another day other than May 11th. So Weird West Definitive Edition, I do have that as well. I got it. It's on sale for $20, and supposedly it's pretty good, and it looks kind of dope. So I got it now that it's on PS5. It's in the backlog. I'll get to it at some point. And anyway, that's all for the new games this week as well. And let's start to wrap the show up here, Travis, like we always do, by discussing what we've been playing and anything that we're looking forward to. What do you got?
Playing a little golf still, trying to work my way. I'm still on the amateur tour because I play every single hole.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't like the simulation things are nice, but like it was
Beats
so
the
annoying.
purpose.
I'd be like 5 under, and then it would simulate 12 holes, and I would be even. It's like, no,
Mm,
fuck that, and I was
yeah.
pissed me off. So I've been playing it. My guy's like an 81, so I'm pretty good.
Nice.
It still does the weird thing where like the wind randomly won't affect the ball, so that's really annoying when you're trying to get a
Mm.
59 and get the trophy. But that's fine. It's like I keep getting 60s and 61s. It's pissing me off.
Hmm.
Played some Battlefield, had some fun on some vehicles. I've just completely forgot how to snipe. It was a
Did
complete
we?
waste of my life.
I don't remember
Yeah,
playing it.
I picked up a I picked up like an assault rifle with a fucking infrared scope. It was awesome. I don't even know what
Oh,
rifle it was, but it was fun.
yeah.
I turned Gran Turismo on and did nothing. I did a couple of qualifyings just to play, and then I was not interested in any of the tracks. And then we played some Chivalry 2, which is awesome and still
Oh,
holds
yeah.
up, of course. I got like 3 kills with a shovel last night, which surprised me, and then, I did some I told you I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I had a sword where, like, I hit triangle, and I just spun in a circle, and I still don't know what I did,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I thought the
Yeah,
game
yeah.
glitched, but then I did it again a few minutes later, and I killed, like, 2 of my teammates by accident because I didn't know I was gonna do that. But I'm having a blast with that. Got absolutely bolted, almost immediately when we logged in. That was a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
The cavalry's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
I'm not that great at it. You are very good at it. Um, but I was just having a blast, running around chopping people's heads off. It's always annoying when you get your head cut off, but,
It is. Why
doing
is that so
better.
annoying?
I
It's
don't
so
know.
annoying.
I would it's like every
It's
time
like
we play.
teabagging somebody on
Yeah.
Battlefield.
I guess it's because they get you so good. It's like, fuck. But
Yeah.
I either start off like I'll either start off and get like 6 or 7 kills in my first life and then do nothing the rest of the game, or I'll get hot right at the end. and I'll like
Mm,
do decent. I never can put it together for a whole board for some reason. I guess part of it's probably because I have it randomized and I never use the same weapon.
yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy it. It's a good time. I'm getting better with the longer swords. Those are probably my favorite because they have such a big reach. But there's like whatever that thing is where it's like a big shaft and on the end of it's like a C-shaped sword
Oh,
thing.
yeah, 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 like, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of
You
it.
can do
How
some
like a
fucking
halberd
work.
or something?
Yeah, you could do some fucking work with that thing. Like
Oh, yeah.
you give people the business. It's awesome. But yeah, I fucking love that game. It's so good.
It is. It's wonderful. It's 2021 game of the year, I think, for me, if I remember correctly. Like you said, it holds up. It's so God, it's so good. It's so good. It's
It's
on
hilarious
PlayStation
too.
Plus.
Like
Yeah,
the
it's
shit they yell, the fucking stuff it does, like
yeah, we were playing a game mode or a new map last night, and we were having to steal pigs and peasants and
oh
take them
yeah.
to the boat. And I picked up a pig
Mhm.
at one point and threw it over across the fence. And then another time I picked a peasant up, and as soon as I picked him up, he said, wish I had not taken a piss before we left." And then he said, "Big weapon, huh? Must be compensating for something." And I was just dying. I thought that was hilarious. So
Yeah.
it's a brilliant game.
I don't know, you could do a battle cry as you run into battle and
Mm,
I hit one last night. It was when I had the shovel and like
yes.
when you have the shovel, you're not actually a warrior, you're like a peasant. And I hit the button and he was like, ah, like he's really
Yeah.
apprehensive in his yell. And the other ones are like
Yes.
knights, they're fully committed. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It's great. And, what else did I play? Oh, played Burning Shores, as we mentioned earlier. I did finish it. It only took me I finished it, over the weekend, so, finally was able to get to it. It was wonderful. You know, Forbidden West slash Burning Shores, still probably PS5's best looking game, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best looking game I think that I've ever played. It's incredible how good the character models are in that game. It's insane. And even the world and everything. I've got a lot of screenshots that I'm going to share, but I think I mentioned it earlier, but I think the story of Horizon is so good and it's so interesting and cool. And it's gone from like this post apocalyptic thing to like this sci fi thing. It's still it's still post apocalyptic, but it's like going in a little bit of a different direction, and it's very, very cool. And I am glad that they're getting to make a third one of those and probably wrap up the main storyline, I would assume, of Aloy anyway. So, what else? Played Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which was recently a PlayStation Plus essential and extra tier game, and this game is awesome. It's so good. It's a blast. It's like Astro's Playroom all over again in a way. Like that's immediately what it reminded me of as soon as I started playing it. And I really can't recommend it enough. And I'm mad that I missed it at PS5's launch because it was a PS5 launch game, and I wish I had paid more attention to it and given it more of a chance because it's wonderful. So it's out there on extra and essential. Like I said, you should definitely try it out if you're at all curious about it. And, I don't think it has a demo. I don't think it has a demo. Not that you would need it, but since it's free anyway. But, very cool game, very cool. The last thing that I played was I mentioned this earlier as well as Poker Stars VR. It's a free to play casino game on PSVR 2. I've only played poker so far, but it has other casino games like, slots, craps, roulette, blackjack, and one other one, I think. But, and that's all fine. Like the poker and everything, it's great. It works good. It's, you flip the cards up and all that. When you go all in, your headset vibrates and that sort of thing. That's all very cool. The best part about the game is the social aspect of it. I was having the best time, and I put some gameplay on our YouTube channel if you're curious about it. But like within the first 5 minutes of getting in the game, you know, we were just with random people just cracking up. We were busting each other's balls a little bit, and it was awesome. Then then Wednesday night I played, and somebody was just high out of their mind in there, and like you could tell they were walking around their room instead of sitting down playing, and their little avatar was just moving around and going back and forth across the poker table and stuff. And then there's some guy next to me loaded in, and he took a big bong rip, and, like, I could hear the water bubbling and shit, and it's just so outrageous. That's gonna annoy some people, I get that, and that was a little over the top, I do admit, but the first night that I played, we were all just kinda chilling out, nothing crazy, just making jokes and playing cards, and it was cool. Like, I don't really know, like, that's just kinda to me, like, that's in a way the magic of virtual reality, to an extent. Like, you can't do that really, like, you can't have that type of experience exactly on just a regular traditional game. So it was cool to just be able to sit there and play poker and just kind of have fun and laugh and just turn my brain off. So there's a pool game, billiards, coming out too, and I'm wondering if that's going to be something similar, because I'm very keen for that one as well. But definitely can recommend Poker Stars VR. Definitely try it out. If you have VR too, it's free, and I think you'll enjoy it. And even if you don't know poker, there's tutorials you can that'll teach you how to play, like the basics of the game and all that
It's
stuff. So
Yahtzee with cards.
yeah, exactly. So it's fun. And anyway, yeah, that's all that I've been playing, and I've got some very cool things coming up. That actually I think I can talk about. There's no embargo, so I forgot about that. So I'm getting ready to start playing Lego 2K Drive. I got the review code for it today, and yeah, there's no embargo, which hardly ever happens for a game like that. So very cool. It comes out on May 19th. So I'm going to be reviewing it for gamingnexus.com, and you can check out my review there hopefully by the end of the week that you're listening to this. My goal is to get it done by the 19th, but very excited to play that as well. So we'll see how that is. Anyway, that's it for me. That's it for Travis. That's it for the show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to get a new episode delivered every Monday on your podcast service. We'd also very much appreciate if you can leave us a rating or review, a like, thumbs up, heart, comment, all that good stuff. It's very helpful. And if you could share us with a friend or a loved one is also helpful. And then just, share the love a little bit. Share us with somebody who you think might enjoy a podcast where they can get all of the week's PlayStation news in less than 90 minutes. Don't forget to find us on social media as well. Twitter at the DualSense Pod, Instagram, Facebook. Our website is the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. We'd love to hear from you and chat PlayStation as we inch closer and closer to this PlayStation showcase that is coming very soon. So we'll get out of here. You guys take care. Have a great week, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye bye.